your emotions can be transmuted so that they become helpful reaching your goals. Okay? Now, emotions also are on a scale, like you were talking about just now. They range, well, I say they range from the high is love and the low is fear. And our emotions run just like that. Now, do the emotions cause the effect? Now, in Hermetic wisdom, they talk about one of the 7 principles is cause and effect. For every cause, there is an effect. And for every effect, there is a cause. Now, the things that happen to us, every picture says, well, that's why I feel good when good things happen, and I feel bad when bad things happen. But my own experience at this point in my life is that my emotions go up and down. Has nothing to do with what's going on outside. It has nothing to do with winning. It has nothing to do with losing. It has nothing to do with it. They just do. It's like, which is another Hermetic principle, that everything that goes up must come down. I know it sounds very, very simple, but it's true that this constant movement takes place, and it takes place in our emotions also. There have been many times when I had wonderful experiences, and I went to sleep that night, and I was just like I think I had given a lecture, and I got a standing ovation after it. And I was just so high that it was impossible. The next morning, man, I was ready to kill myself. I was so down in the dumps, and I had no reason. Everything was going great. Why does it go up and why does it go down? It just does it normally. This is our life. We go up, we go down. Okay? But if we're down, how do we continue to go down, or does it go up by itself, or can we control these emotions? Because if the emotions are the cause and what happens is the effect, that's very important, because this gives us a way to handle this life. I mean, you can go from depression, up to ecstasy. It's a scale. Now, it could just happen haphazardly. They seem to be related to each other, the events that take place. Are they caused by the emotion, or does the emotion cause, or does the event cause the emotion? Well, I backed it up for me, and I mean, this has been going on for a very long time to me now, that if we can change our emotions, transform our emotions, while we're really down, sad, crying, really, really in bad shape, and how do you get out of it? Well, we can do that. We have the ability to do that. And it's one of the techniques of mindful meditation that I'm going to be discussing perhaps this evening too. The difference between our spiritual life and our material life, very, very important. Okay? Well, we can go, we're so involved with our material life that we totally lose contact with our spirit. And this does happen. It happens to all of us. When you can get into your spiritual life and leave your material life, that's great. That's also on a scale. It's on a scale of consciousness. When you are in a very low emotional state, man, you're going to make some bad decisions. You're going to cause terrible things to happen. And so if we can raise our emotion, then we get into a higher consciousness state, and we can get it, if we can get that emotion up to a level of love, well, that's great. Well, how do you do that? See? I asked the wizard, and he told me. He says, you won't find me when your emotions are low. You can find me when you're in love. Well, how do you fall in love when terrible things are happening? I mean, my sweetheart just left me, you know. How can I be in love when she just left me? Oh, he just left me. The mind is a very, very peculiar thing. Actually, we have two minds. There's one up in here, and there's one down here. There are two minds. The one up here is involved with material things. The one up here is rational, finding causes, means, you know, so I can change it, you know, I can make more money and then I'll be happy. You make the more money and you're still not happy. But you can move from your head to your heart by simply, and this is really simply, asking a question. And this is one of my mindful meditation techniques. Ask yourself a question when you're really down. How does it feel to be in love? Your heart knows the answer. Okay? You're now moving from here to here. And you don't even wait for the answer. The answer appears as quickly as on your very next breath. The mind will always answer questions. Okay? The mind does that. That's one of the things that the mind does. It answers questions. Anytime you put a question, it may not know the answer, and it'll tell you, I don't know the answer to that. But the mind, the spirit has a mind of its own, and that spirit, that Holy Spirit lives in our heart. It is there. And when you just ask the question of that mind that's there, the mind that's there is different than the mind that is up here. The mind that's there, all of its thoughts are thoughts of love. All of its thoughts are thoughts of, well, let's put it this way. Your conscience is the thoughts of this spiritual mind. It's just there, and the answers are always there. Sometimes there's a dilemma, you know, oh, if I do this, it's good for me, but it's terrible for the other guy. You know, I say my conscience starts to bother me. But the point is that you listen to your conscience, that intuition is another wonderful word. It means inner teaching. It is there. And your teacher is sitting in here. Your teacher is that Wizard of Is. That Wizard of Is inside of me. The Wizard of Is inside of you. That spirit that's inside of you. Make it your friend. That is your friend. Your only true friend who wants everything for you, nothing from you. And this is a true friend. And that's the Wizard of Is. It's who I want to be. That's my Holy Spirit. The spirit that keeps reincarnating because it's impure, and you try to, and each incarnation, it becomes better. Each incarnation is a purifying experience. You ask, well, what is the purpose of life? That is the purpose of life, to have that spirit become purer. And when you're in the company of a really pure spirit, you know something? It's contagious. It works. It works. And there are always pure spirits in every age. It's not just one, you know. That, I mean, if you're fortunate enough to have one of them as your teacher, you know, and be in their company, it's contagious. It's like a contagious wellness. I had that experience. Guru Maharaji is the one who gave me the knowledge. I don't follow him anymore. Because why? I know who he is, he knows who I am, and we are both the same one. I mean, that potential that's inside of me, well, it exudes. He can stand up in front of you here. Perhaps I can do that too. I don't believe it, but maybe you're feeling that love from me. Well, you're not feeling it from me. You're feeling it from that Holy Spirit that's inside of me. It is so powerful. It is so powerful. It fills the room. What is it like to be in love? I mean, there aren't words to describe it. It's like being in another dimension. All these other things are happening. But when you're in that dimension called love, where you have elevated to that position, and we can all do it. In the Hermetic wisdom, again, I'm going to give another lecture on Hermetic wisdom, but yes, you can do that. You can change your emotion. You have the ability, God gave, and what it takes to do that is two things. One is choice. We've also been given a choice. But choice, unless it has the willpower behind it, is not going to happen. Your choice says, well, I want to be happy. I want to be in love. If you want it, you can't have it, because anything that you want, you don't have. It's in the future. So when you want something, it keeps it in the future. But when you have the willpower to, your choice becomes it's already happened. Okay? There's no future. It's the choice that when the choice is accompanied by that willpower, the greatest power in the universe. When you have your real choice powered by your willpower, you already have it. So when you say, what's it like to be in love? What's it like to be at peace? What's it like to be truly happy? And you're saying this when you're really down and out. I mean, you're going down to a point where go beyond depression. You become suicidal, and it can happen. We all have these crazy things, these crazy moods. But to be able to manage your moods, to be able to let your spirit be who you are. He is anyway. But to find that out and to experience that, this is what this life is about. To purify that spirit that you are. And when actually we're all one. We all have that Holy Spirit. But, you know, I listened to Louise giving a lecture one week, and he was describing to us neophytes just who we are, you know. So he has the body, this material thing, and he said, but inside the body there is there's certainly a mind that controls the body, and if you speed up the vibration, and you can do that, you speed up the vibration, you get closer to something called your soul. And he describes that soul as being your spirit plus your perispirit, this stuff that's around it. Well, we're not in contact with that. We know we're our bodies. You know, say, who am I? What do you mean, who am I? I mean, hey, you see me? No. That's your temporary garment that you're wearing. But that spirit that's inside of you is who you are. But actually, you're all three things. But when the time comes to lay down the body because it has lost its usefulness, okay, where it's not improving anything, it's not carrying out its function of purifying your spirit by the things that you do and the things that you think. Yeah, that's temporary. Our bodies are temporary, but that spirit goes on. And that experience I described to you with having my spirit left my body, and I knew it was me. And I knew that, I really knew I experienced that. Nobody can tell me I didn't experience it. And just as a skeptic, you know, he's filled with doubts, those doubts stand between your spirit and your material self. Doubt is something to I mean, people say it's good to have doubts. You know, that's how you learn things. You know? Well, I mean, it's good to have doubts, but the point is, you can't be so. The doubts are very powerful. When somebody says, "I doubt that. I doubt if there is a God. I doubt if I have a spirit," he's really saying, "I don't believe that. You know, and it's don't bother me with that. You can't prove it. Prove it to me." You know? Well, as like Kardec says, I'm not going to bother proving it to you. When you experience it, you'll know it. And no amount of proof is necessary until you've had the experience.